Hey, what's going on everyone? So in today's video I just wanted to do a bit more of like a general update, talk a little bit about kind of what I'm doing with my languages at the moment, some updates to how I'm learning Spanish and kind of future goals for other languages and things like that. So yeah, just a bit of a general update video. So obviously at the moment my main focus is Spanish, and right now I'm in the middle of working towards the goal of committing 400 hours or dedicating 400 hours of immersion or being engaged with the language over 6 months. So basically at the end of June, I think it was, I did the 40-hour language learning challenge, where you do 40 hours of language learning, immersion, whatever, during 1 week. So at the end of that week, I kind of reflected on the whole process and thought a little bit about how, if I felt different in anything, if I'd felt like I'd made any improvements and all that kind of stuff. And obviously I hadn't made like huge improvements in a week, but obviously 40 hours is a lot of time to do within 7 days. And so what I did feel like was, especially with like my comprehension, like watching series for example, I felt like I was able to understand everything just like a little bit easier. And so yeah, basically I recognized that, or I suppose it reminded me that, you know, immersion is just about how much time you spend in the language, and whilst 40 hours a week isn't something that is sustainable for me, I did think that I could probably commit more time. So I decided to set myself the goal of doing 400 hours over the last 6 months of this year, which basically is about 2 hours and 15 minutes roughly each day. And so yeah, at the moment I'm working towards that, and well, currently if I keep my kind of averages, my main average over the first 3 months that I've been doing this, I'm probably going to hit 500 hours over 6 months, which I think is pretty cool. Although this month specifically, the month of, where are we, September, I have been, I don't want to say slack because I've still been doing quite a bit of time, but I've been a little bit under my kind of targets, especially compared to the months before. So I'm not too worried about that because I've had some other stuff going on. I've been on holiday and doing different things, and like I say, I've still been committing a decent amount of time. So but I have been thinking a little bit more about kind of my goals with Spanish. And so I mean, basically my long-term goal with Spanish is just to be as good as possible. I guess I want that sort of native-like level of Spanish, but it's also not something that I'm like stressing myself about in terms of trying to achieve it like very soon or within any kind of sort of time frame. I just want to consistently commit to improving my Spanish so it keeps getting better, basically. And so, but yeah, I feel like I've reached a point now where I'm pretty comfortable kind of conversationally. I can talk about most things that I want to talk about fairly comfortably. I don't have to spend too much time thinking about things. Of course, I'm still making lots of mistakes, or an amount of mistakes, and there's lots of things I still haven't learned. Plenty of words, obviously, that I haven't come across or have seen but don't remember, etc. And so I guess up until now, I've been doing a lot of extensive immersion in a sense. I've been, you know, watching through series and I haven't been stopping looking up words. I've been reading through books and again I haven't been stopping, and I just consume a lot of content. But I think with my kind of goals with Spanish, you know, I do want to refine my speaking a little bit more. I want to add a little bit more kind of nuance to the way that I speak and expand my vocabulary and things like that. And so I think that over the next 3 months, like for the last quarter of this year, I'm going to try and spend a bit more time being a little bit more focused in on the details. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is reintroducing Anki every day. That's something that when I've used it has helped me, but I've always struggled with continuing to use it. So basically, I'm just going to do it first thing in the morning. I don't know if that's the best time in the day to do it, but to be completely honest, it's something that I think I need to just get up and do it because I just make excuses otherwise. So I'm going to be reintroducing Anki, but the other thing that I'm going to be doing, something that I actually talked to one of my teachers about in an interview that I did with her about her experience learning languages. An idea that I got from that conversation, fairly simple, but I realised that I'd never actually done it. And that was this idea of kind of picking a certain subject each week to kind of research into, to look up new vocabulary words, to kind of explore the way people talk about that topic, and then kind of do like I don't know, write something, a short little paragraph or little piece, sort of mini blog kind of style or something, just to kind of reaffirm all those words, and then use that as a subject for my italki classes. And yeah, because up till now I think I've just been, I just go into every class and it's just like a casual conversation. I'm quite friendly with most of the people that I have italki classes with now, because I've had a lot of classes with them, and I think that's been good. I don't think that's been a bad way to do it, but I think it's going to take me longer to keep seeing those kind of improvements if I don't spend at least a little bit of time being a little bit more focused with what I'm doing. So over the next few months I'm going to try and focus in a little bit more on kind of refining my Spanish, I guess, ironing out some of those mistakes and little things like that. And so that's kind of where I'm at now and what I'm going to be doing with the rest of the year with Spanish. And so next year is when I'm going to be reintroducing my Russian learning. So I say reintroducing because not long before I did this 40-hour language learning challenge in a week thing, I started to get curious about learning another foreign language, and so I started to learn Russian. Basically what happened was I spent maybe like 3 weeks kind of casually looking into it, doing a few things. I was trying to follow like the Michelle Thomas audio course because I had access to that. But I was also starting to see quite good progress with my Spanish, and so I realized that ultimately I didn't want to split my time between the two. I knew that any studying of Russian was going to be taken away from my Spanish, and I just feel like I feel like it's better to focus in on my Spanish more like 100%, get it to a slightly higher level, and then kind of switch it into more of like maintenance, slow, continual progress mode later on when I've amassed more hours generally. So next year is when I think I'm going to feel a little bit more better about starting that second foreign language, and so that second foreign language is going to be Russian. My plan with Russian essentially at the moment only spans for 6 months. Not that I only want to study it for 6 months, but I've only planned kind of 6 months ahead. And basically it's just kind of, I'm just going to be getting a basic feel for the foundations of the language. I'm already off to a kind of half decent start in that I've done some, but realistically I would say I know maybe like 25 words, 30 words at a push, so I could say a few short sentences but nothing of any meaning, and I certainly can't understand anything when I hear it. So yeah, first kind of month or two I'm going to be just kind of building that base, but I'm going to be jumping into kind of immersion straight away. Luckily I found a few kind of channels that are built for kind of beginner learners of Russian, so I've kind of bookmarked and organized all that. I'll probably make a separate video about like how I'm going to go about Russian, but so I want to spend at least 6 months kind of focusing on immersion and building up that foundation, and then the idea is that then after that 6 months I will probably start to output a little bit, start to work on talking and build from there. But I'm going to kind of see how it goes. That's why I say I've only kind of planned 6 months ahead. But with Russian my motivation is a little bit different. I have an interest in the language, in the culture, in the history and things like that. But another thing is that I just have a curiosity about learning a language that's like so different to my native language. Of course, Spanish is different, but there's so many similarities. There's so many words that sound so much like English words that you can almost start to guess Spanish words once you start to get a feel for the kind of flow of the language, I suppose. And so, I have a lot of curiosity about what it's going to be like to learn a language that's so different. And also, I do actually teach English online on italki, and so I have quite a lot of students that are from Russia. And so I also think as a teacher, it's kind of really important to understand that process of learning a foreign language, and if I can learn the native language of a lot of my students, maybe that will help me to kind of understand some of the problems that they have with understanding grammar or whatever it is. I don't really know, to be honest, but I'm kind of curious. And so, the final reason for Russian being my next choice in languages is actually because the next language that I really want to learn is Italian, but as far as I'm aware and from what I've seen and heard, the similarities between Italian and Spanish there's a lot, right, of similarities between Spanish and Italian. Some people will say that they can understand the other language even having not learnt it. And so basically I worry that if I start to learn Italian now, even though I would say I have a comfortable Spanish level, I think the Spanish is still quite new in my brain, right? I'm only sort of 10 months in at this point, and so I just want to put more time in between starting Spanish and starting Italian. So next year is kind of like a buffer year for me in a sense. It's just an opportunity for me to continue to learn Spanish, to continue to get that consistent input and just really kind of strengthen it in my mind. And then obviously the Russian alongside that, and then hopefully so 2022 I'll feel a little bit more confident with starting Italian, and maybe even I'll do better with Italian because my Spanish level will be that much better. And like I said before, I don't plan on dropping Spanish. I'm just going to be cutting down my time. So my current plan is to maintain doing 1 hour a day of Spanish. And the reason I've chosen that amount of time, one, is because it's manageable, but two, that will mean that throughout this year and next year I will have amassed around about 1,000 or just over 1,000 hours of immersion in Spanish. And so yeah, I think that's kind of like a good target to go for over 2 years. And then with Russian over the next year, when I'm studying it, my plan is to spend an hour and a half each day working on Russian. At first with the Russian, that's just going to be, I'll spend probably half an hour doing some kind of foundational stuff. I might try something like Pimsleur, or watching some of those YouTube videos that are talking in English but about some of these Russian grammar ideas and things, just to get a bit of a base and an understanding. And then the other hour is going to be just immersing, and then after probably the first month or even the first few weeks, the whole hour and a half will just be immersion, because my experience with Spanish has shown me that that's all I need really, is just to kind of commit to the time and trust in the process, I suppose. So right at the moment I'm locked in on Spanish. I'm trying to get as many hours in as possible. Like I say, this month has been a little bit less, but on average I'm doing about 2 3/4 hours a day. I feel good with everything that I'm doing with Spanish, and I'm looking forward to kind of focusing in a little bit more with that. But I'm definitely super excited to start learning Russian next year as well. So I guess I just felt like doing a bit of an update video, kind of telling you guys where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm going to be doing next year. I guess gives you a bit of an idea about what you can expect to see on the channel. I think this video might have ended up being a little bit longer than I planned originally, so thank you very much if you stuck around for the whole thing. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys, so if there's anything you want to see from me or questions you have or whatever, just stick comments below, and I'll get back to all of you. And I think that's it for today's video. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Adios.